so what we need to do now is create a script for the player. So we'll say player. Go ahead and open that up. Sorry, it's on my other screen over here. Open that up in Sublime Text. So we have our player script. And then what we're going to do real quick, we're just going to add it on there, just so we have it. And then, there we go. Alright, so we're going to need just a couple things. We'll make them public so we can access them within the Unity editor, just to make it easy to modify. So we'll say public, and it's going to be a float, and it's going to be our rotation speed. So we'll say rotation speed. And we'll say public float, and that's just going to be, I'm going to call it the thrust speed. So that's basically the speed or force. Actually, I think force would be better. We'll say thrust force. Thrust force. So that's okay. Thrust is basically the force that propels you forward. So that's literally what that is. And then we're actually not going to use start. And we're not going to use update, we're going to use fixed update. Fixed update occurs at the same frequency when delta time is set, so we won't need to do any delta time in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, let's see, if input dot get access, and that will get one of the predefined buttons that we set up, and it will also allow for easy key configuration. We'll say this will be horizontal. I think it's lowercase. Horizontal. So this is going to be our horizontal movement. Why did I do that? It's not an if statement. Sorry. Actually, we're going to make a couple private values also. Private float horizontal, and then private float vertical. So that's our vertical and horizontal values. So we'll say horizontal equals that, and we'll say vertical equals input dot get axis vertical. So now we have a value between -1 and 1 for our horizontal and vertical. So what we're going to do is we're going to set our rigid body. Wait, let's see how do we want to do this. Yeah, we'll set our rigid body 2D, because remember in Unity it is a 2D rigid body, not your normal 3D one. So say rigid body 2D dot angular velocity is equal to we'll say horizontal times rotation speed. So what this will do is if our horizontal, if we're pressing left, as in we want to rotate left, our value is going to be somewhere between 0 and -1, depending on how long we've been pressing left, or the A key if you're on the keyboard, or holding the joystick left if you're like using a gamepad. So it's gonna, and that it's 0 to 1. If you're on keyboard, it's how long you've been holding the button up until it hits the full value, which will be 1 or -1. Or if you're using a gamepad, it's how far you're holding that analog stick over. So anyways, so that way we can kind of adjust the speed. So if you just want to creep a little, like if you're holding the gamepad, you only have to like press it a little bit. Anyways, so we take that and we multiply it by rotation speed. So if we're not pressing left or right at all, it's at 0. Our angular velocity is going to be 0. So this will basically, it'll literally zero it out so that we will not be rotating. If we're pressing or holding left, it's gonna be a negative, so our rotation speed will be a negative, therefore it will rotate to the left. Same thing, if it's right, it'll be positive, so it'll go right. Then the next thing that we want to do is, so what we're going to want to do now is allow the player to move forward or backwards. So we'll say is rigid body 2D dot add force, and this is a function, and it's just going to take a float value. So what we're going to do is we're going to say our vertical multiplied by, not our rotation speed, multiplied by our thrust force. oops, semicolon, there we go. So if we're holding up, it's going, or the W key, it's going to be positive number, so we're going to multiply that by the thrust force, therefore we're going to move forward. Same thing if it is, if we're holding down or S key, then it is going to be a negative number, therefore we're going to move backwards. Now since we're adding force, if we're moving forward and then we switch right away to moving backwards, we're not going to instantly move backwards because we already have forward momentum. So it's going to slow us down, and then once we come to a stop, we're going to have force that's going to be pushing us back or pulling us backwards. So it's going to feel kind of space-like. So let's go ahead and go back in game. Let's see. Oh. We got 2D add force. Oh, yep, sorry. I forgot. This needs to be a vector too. So what we'll say is we will say transform dot up. Multiply it by that. Sorry about that. And that should clear this up. There we go. Okay. So wait. Yeah, okay, we already added it on here. So now if we hit play, we are going to not see anything because we didn't set our rotation speed and our thrust force. There's 0. And that's fine. So we'll set this. This needs to be a pretty high number. I'll set it at 250. And then the thrust force, this is going to be a relatively small number. We'll say 2. And then, oop, not save. That's a bad habit I have. Hit Control S all the time. Alright, so now when we go and hit play, okay, these need to be capital letters apparently. Now when we go and hit play, we should see, I can hold left, right. I apparently have this backwards, so that'll be a quick fix. We can move forward, we move backwards. Alright, so let me go back in here. We need to multiply, let's see, our horizontal needs to be negative. It's just how we're rotating. So we'll take the negative horizontal. That's going to actually feel right now. Okay, so now I'm holding A, so I'm rotating left. Now I'm going to hold D, so I'll rotate right. Forward. We can turn, go in circles. So there we go. That's going to be it for this video. We've got basic movement in, showed you how to set up a 2D project. In the next video, we'll probably do a little bit more basic stuff, lock the player to the screen, or possibly do some screen wrap. Maybe we'll make this kind of like a little Asteroids type game, just a simple game. That's probably what we'll do. So we'll implement screen wrap next time, and we'll see what else we can fit in. All right, thanks. Bye.